Have you ever wondered about this life and the lessons that it has to teach? How there are certain types of people and certain types of lessons to learn? But after this life, beyond when you die, what is after that? Your Machiavellian tactics that got you far in this earthly life. How far will you get with them in the afterlife? Or will you even ascend higher or degrade to lower life forms based on the karma of your actions in life? There are times I meet people who never even have a deep thought in mind or even cared to think about deeper questions in life. They are tunnel visioned on the material world. They think that it's all there is with disregarding their own soul. This is why many try to fill a void that they cannot replace with money and they don't know where to get their fill. Some resort to substance abuse and that turns to become their own downfall. Although we live in our solar system, within the Milky Way galaxy. And if you believe in astrology, it mostly depends on our solar system and the celestial bodies such as constellations and stars. But if you died and were reincarnated in another galaxy, within another planet in a different solar system, then the entire astrology system would change for that area because it would be completely different from our solar system. And would there be different lessons for our souls to learn in order to move beyond the three-dimensional world? Then, as you die and possibly ascend to the higher level, would there be different kind of souls the way there are different kinds of people on our planet with different goals and rules in that reality? Will there be another ascension to aim for the beyond the afterlife? And when will it all come to a halt? Would this process be a way to ascend to possibly reach the highest level possible for our souls, which is godlike? And if you do, then what? What is the purpose of existence if it has an ultimate ending with no way to ascend higher? Would infinite ascension make existence more or less meaningful? Maybe angels and demons are guides on this planet based on the direction in life that we choose. In the life that's a testing ground where everything is a possibility, I do believe in free will, or else reality would be a pre written script. There are always choices that we can make. Let's say, for example, if you practice any art form, if your aim in it is integrity and truth, then you will eventually find it as you aspire to go for what is elevated. If, however, you are insecure and you seek to validate your own decisions, even if they are poor, you'll find excuses to make bad art and seek your path in deception, while only deceiving yourself in the process. In the end, the path to integrity may be more difficult, but it's rewarding, while an easy path will never gain you pride in your accomplishments and true satisfaction of attaining something that very few are capable of doing. Most people choose the easy path and then regret it later on in life, while those who take risks may face difficulties as well as suffer in life for their bold choices. But at some point, they'll gain some kind of a reward for their courage, whether it would be real world success of just personal satisfaction of knowing that you did what you've set out to do. When you say something in your mind, you hear it in a certain voice. Do you ever wonder if that voice is real or if it's the voice of your spirit? Isn't it amazing how something like a thought that only exists in a slight electric current in our brains and doesn't have any other physical three-dimensional qualities can dramatically have an effect on our three-dimensional world? How many ideas have changed the world? They all started out as thoughts, but to go even deeper, were they our thoughts? Were the thoughts that we channeled from the Akashic records that have always existed, regardless of humans, as the human mind is only served as a vessel to carry those ideas and thoughts? That also brings to mind the concept of creativity. Our original ideas, as we'd like to think that they are only innate to us, are they really our ideas? Or have they existed before and our minds only caught the frequency of them in order to express them in our reality? What can cause one's mind to be in tune with specific spiritual radio stations, as I'd like to call it? Is it because those that get connected are inclined to seek, so as a reward, the universe gives us what we aim for? I've personally attained much peace in my soul when I found God, but it took me an open mind to get there. With people who are atheists, they refuse to even entertain such a concept due to the disdain for the concept of belief, since they think that everything needs to be scientifically proven for it to be real or valid. It's a materialistic vision that they cling to, without keeping the idea that maybe science hasn't caught up to such complex aspects of reality, and with the notion of rejecting the spiritual, they will always be stuck in their rut without ever finding God. Keep in mind that science is not a dogma. It's a constantly evolving and a refining process to make logical sense of our existence. But those who have too much faith in it have not realized its imperfections or lack the basic knowledge of history of how science has been constantly rewritten, such as, for example, from Newtonian physics to when Albert Einstein's theory of relativity changed the entire understanding of our physical reality. It took hundreds of years for this evolution to occur, with few suspecting such a drastic change, but it did occur. So keeping an open mind isn't a weakness. It's a strength that relies on your own confidence and security to think for yourself and not care on how others perceive you. I think that people need to meet God halfway for them to see any signs, because nobody will want to be friends with you and shake your hand if you spit in their face. God is no different. There are many complex concepts on how they manifest in our reality, such as karma and suffering, that can have entire philosophical books being written on them. But many people who believe in materialism think that God needs to be proven for them to accept such a concept. Let me bring up a hypothetical scenario if such a thing would occur. Imagine that a brilliant scientist one day discovered the God equation and indefinitely proved to the scientific community that God exists. This news would be widespread throughout the world. Then it would cause many changes, such as people would then start acting as if there's someone always watching over their shoulders, instead of having a conscience of free will. This world wouldn't be the same and would become animated as if some kind of a theme park. This would end the entire concept of why this world exists in the first place as a testing ground for our souls. So then, what would be the purpose of being here if all actions would depend not on people's character, but from artificial choices for them to gain brownie points with the divine? You can't lie to God. Blaise Pascal famously said, "Let us weigh the gain and the loss in wagering that God is. Let us estimate these two chances. If you gain all. If you lose nothing." But gambling on God defeats the entire purpose on why people believe and choose faith. Faith is not a casino. To me, it's not about any specific religion because I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. The difference is that religion uses discipline to force people to artificially do things that they don't want to be good out of fear of otherworldly punishment, even if it's just an act to satisfy living the kind of life that God approves. With spirituality, you don't need any chains to hold you back from doing harm. You choose the right path because that's what you genuinely want, not because anyone forces you to be someone who you're really not. In terms of karma, I believe that it's its own entity and law in the universe that even God won't prevent for the purpose of teaching. I once looked up the definition of God, and the best one that I could find was the ultimate teaching force in the universe. In all reality, what other greater purpose can God have than to teach, with the aim for us to enlighten and for our souls to elevate? Something to think about.